Former majority.
Uko salama lakini?
Niko salama.
Long time?
Long time.
Now I'm the member for Garissa Township.
Last I was there.
Yeah.
Tulenda tukakunywa maziwa.
Yeah, now my flock is big, so you need to come when...
But you had promised me you will name one of them after me.
Yeah, your camel, female camel is still there.
Yes. Aijaza?
Imezaa. Now you have one baby. I think about to deliver also second one.
Oh, really? So I come and reclaim it?
Yes.
Asante sana kwa kutukaribisha.
But you'll tell me where you'll take it, you know. Because if you're taking it to where it rains a lot.
Unajua mimi ni wa Murang'a.
Now it can't survive there.
It won't.
And if a camel dies because of the weather, I'll be held responsible by the pastoralist, being their patron.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So niwache tu hapo.
Wacha tu ikae kwangu.
But I can claim it anytime.
We can have an agreement.
We will have an agreement.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us on the hot seat. Today we host Garissa Township Member of Parliament and former Majority Leader Aden Duale. Thank you so much for joining us.
This is my first interview. Since I left that big, stressful, yes, office. That's why you see I'm relaxed.
You look so relaxed. You look a bit younger though.
Yeah.
Although with
I have now time for I have time now for my family and my constituents. Yes.
All right. On the hot seat, we always start with saying this is your story. So you're here to tell your story. Kwa hivyo tuanze na Garissa, from when you were born, when you were growing up, how you went to school. How was that like for you?
Oh yeah, first my mom brought us to Garissa in 1969. I think I was 1 year old. With my twin brother. I'm a twin. Fun fact,
he has a twin brother.
I have a twin brother.
I have actually met your twin.
Yes, you met him last time.
Yes.
And my elder brother. The rest of my other brothers and sisters they remain in the nomadic lifestyle. So we came to Garissa, and my mom started the business of hustling. Mamboga, kuza mahindi. I went to Boys Town Primary School with colleagues like the Honorable Member for the DAP and a number of other friends. I went to Garissa High School. I went to Moi Forces Academy for my A-levels. I went to Moi University, finished, and in 1994, I got married, lived in Mombasa, did business. That's it, and then I went back to school. I joined politics, really politics, in 2005 referendum. I was a team leader for the Orange in Garissa and also Northeastern. So that's where I got involved in the politics of William Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Raila Odinga. All of us were in that Orange movement. Then the 2007 general election, the rest of us stayed together. President Uhuru Kenyatta went back and joined forces with the President Kibaki. And halfway, few months to the election, Kalonzo Musyoka, through Daniel Manzo, my colleague and member from Makueni, they took off with our certificate. It's a very, very interesting scenario. And we had no party. And that's how they took off with ODM Kenya. That was our party. So we formed ODM, which was already registered through a friend of ours called Mugambi. And we went to the elections. It was not a good election because there was a post-election violence. Many Kenyans died. I was elected as the first member of parliament in the 2007 elections as a member for Dugis. That time it was very big, 6,800 square kilometers. That was the current township constituency, my constituency, and Balambala constituency combined. I became an assistant minister. We felt, a lot of us, that Honorable Raila Odinga should change us, even at the onset of the cabinet formation. I mean, we were big players in the ODM then. But we took it. Kenyan politics is full of betrayal and deceit.
There are no permanent friends or enemies in
So
politics.
today you are here. So I served as an assistant minister for livestock and a member for Dugis between 2008 to 2010. We differed ideologically with the leadership of ODM by then. Myself, Honorable William Ruto, Isaac Ruto, a number of us, we were about 20. And we decided to chart our own way. So we formed URP, United Republican Party. And one thing that people don't know, why we picked on United Republican Party, why we picked on the term Republican. Even now I'm a Republican. Even today, I am aligned to the Republican Party, even in the US. Because of what they believe in. We share family values. The Republicans, wherever they are in the world, they believe in family values.
Very far from the Democrats.
You know, they believe in family values, protecting the family. They are very close to the scriptures and all that. Even though Donald Trump, in my opinion, has let us down. I'm sure every Republican, even in the US, those who believe in Republican parties, are not happy. So we formed URP because we had the complex of the ICC in the mix.
Yes.
I went to ICC record 27 times. I was not in ICC, but two of my very close friends, the current president and the current deputy president, were in ICC. My very good friend, Honorable Henry Kosgei, General Ali, who was a family member from my community. So I took a lot of interest, and I used to go to ICC. I was a very common denominator in the ICC proceedings. We did prayers, we had very good legal team, and we went through. We faced headwinds, political headwinds, heavy currents from the international community. We were told choices have consequences.
Absolutely.
You remember my good friend, the British ambassador, Christian Turner, the American ambassador, Ranabaga, all this. Johnny Carson, the Secretary of State for African Affairs. And we were not in government, so we were fighting, we were competing for the 2013 general election against incumbent. I mean, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga was a prime minister with half government. Kalonzo Musyoka was a vice president. But we decided to win that election by making sure that a few of us had to convince the president, the deputy president, that neither of you can win alone. So can we merge URP and TNA? And we crafted a sort of an MOU in sharing power and both in the executive and in the legislature. And we won the elections, of course with a small margin of 8,000 votes to the mark, 50+1. I have the privilege, and I want to thank the President and the Deputy President and the rank and the file membership of the Jubilee Party for giving me the opportunity to serve in the first, as the first majority leader under the new constitution.
And I remember...
And I served it for 7.5 years.
Yeah.
In a very, very difficult, particularly the first term, the 11th Parliament. The 11th Parliament was a very volatile. The position was very, very strong. Their numbers were very high. And we had very, very controversial bills, like the security laws and all that. So that's why when I started having these gray hairs, But in the 12th Parliament, I think the handshake reduced the tension in the House. But I'm now writing my memos. So that will come out a few months to the general election, where I want to speak my heart and my experience, what I feel about the handshake, what I feel about my tenure as the first majority leader under the new constitution.
I want to
So I was holding a constitutional office.
Sorry.
I am sure the people of Kenya will judge me in one way or the other. Yes.
I want to take you back to 2013. When you were, announced as the majority leader. And I remember I broke that story when we were in Naivasha.
Yes.
I got into a lot of trouble for it,
Yes.
for giving the list ahead of time. But you were very instrumental in the campaigns. I remember we went around the country with you. But is this something that you had expected, that you would actually be the majority leader serving in the first Jubilee administration?
Oh yes, because 2013 we had sort of an arrangement, and I was the second in command within the ranks of the United Republican Party. So ideally, I expected once the leader of our party then in that coalition, the URP, William Ruto, becomes the deputy president, the next senior position that party was to get in the coalition agreement was that of the leader of majority. So it was the preserve of the rank and the file of the parliamentary group of Jubilee, because that's where the decision is made. But of course the president and the deputy felt that I was the right person. And I am sure wherever they are today, they are not regretting. I am not one of the people Jubilee bestowed the position on, and today they are regretting. I'm sure the president has very kind words. I served the party, I served the government as a leader of government business. If it is loyalty, I was loyal to the party and the president. If it was doing my work, I never lost one bill. I mean, I only lost one bill, and that I was out of the country. I saved a number of cabinet ministers from impeachment. So I don't want to say it myself, but I don't think whether I failed in my duty. Members of parliament across the political divide can attest to that. But I don't want to speak about my achievements. I think it's good other people will talk about what I did well and what I never did very well. Yes.
Do you have faith in the person who has taken over you?
I am a man of faith, so nobody, nothing is static. Nobody will last in a position. In fact, I think in the whole leadership of the legislature, from 2013, the only two people who served more than 7.5 years is myself and the Speaker of the National Assembly, who is still serving.
Yes.
So the rest of the team that we were appointed together as the leadership of the National Assembly and the Senate didn't come back in 2017. The speakers were changed, the deputy speakers were changed, the leader of majority both in the Senate were changed, the minority leadership the same. So I think I had an opportunity to serve as the first leader of majority under the new constitution, Article 108. And two, I served for 7.5 years. Even the President of the Republic of Kenya will not serve more than 10 years. So I think nobody should have the feeling that, and Kenya is not a monarchy. It's only in monarchy where you serve until you die. Just like may his soul rest in peace, the Emir of Kuwait. If the system where you live is a monarchy, yes. But in a democratic system like Kenya, you either as a public servant or a state officer, you have a tenure, you have a time limit, either set by the Almighty God or set by the Constitution. So nobody in Kenya has an open-ended period in terms of holding a public or state office. Yes.
However, for my mail, what we're seeing playing out in the public right now is something that you have mentioned about loyalty.
Yes.
The manner in which you lost the majority leader position. I mean, really, let's get into that.
Yes.
What happened there?
I was not removed because I was not loyal, either to the party or to the president. I was not removed because I did not deliver on government agenda in the House as the leader of majority or leader of government business. I was not removed because I was disloyal. I was not removed because of corruption. I was not removed because of any other criminal activity. And if you ask me, I was not even removed procedurally. Why do I say so? You know, the first time there were the so-called signatures. Up to today, those signatures are mystery. We don't know who they are. We don't know which members of parliament. There's a talk of people whose signatures were forged. So that's a mystery. We don't know the signatures collected. What were the allegations? You know, for you to collect signatures against any person, even the impeachment of a CS, you must attach allegations. So up to today is a mystery. What were the allegations? But those are what the busybodies, the people out there are doing. I think for me, I had a very candid conversation with the president in the first parliamentary group meeting, 1 hour candid conversation. And my conversation led to me deciding either not to lobby to stay, and I have finally decided that because the president, one, was my boss, and two, was my very, very good friend. And between 2018 and 2020, July or August, when I was leaving, I lived in a very precarious position. You know, the deputy and the president relationship was not getting well. So I had to do a lot of balancing. So I realized that I think if the president, my very good friend, a man I have a lot of respect for, a man who has done a lot, him and the deputy president, in my constituency, because the footprint in terms of development of the Jubilee administration is very visible in my constituency. And I've known the president since 2005 when he vied against Nicholas Biwott for the chairship of KANU. So he is a very good family friend. He came to my house, and we are still very, very good buddies. So I think I felt as a seasoned politician, as a seasoned leader, that it's like I was having something like spirit loyalty. You know, I was between two friends, two dear friends. On the other hand, I have a history with the deputy president, a man I have a high regard for, like the president. So I didn't want to offend any one of them. So I decided, I think, I just saw in the eyes of the president that he wanted somebody else to do certain things. And he felt, and he knows me very well. The president knows me politically. I can tell you, if there are three people who know me politically, my political DNA, to call it, is Raila Odinga, William Ruto, and Uhuru Kenyatta. So when Uhuru Kenyatta looks at me in the eyes, he knows what I can do and what I cannot do. So maybe he realized that there's some things that I will not do in the house. And I felt like he had a lot of respect for me. He played a very big role in making me the first majority leader. He again had confidence in me in 2017 to continue. So, and when I look at him, I said, Your Excellency, I am ready to give way to somebody else. And we still remain friends. We still work together. You still have 2 years to go. And so I stepped aside. So it was one-to-one discussion I had. This is the first interview I've done since I left the office. So I'm giving you that
and we're very happy
insight. I think I did the same with the Standard newspaper. So, and I felt it's not my first time, history repeats itself. I mean, I was a deputy minister in the Grand Coalition government in 2010. And because of, again, ideological differences, I walked out and went back to the backbench. So history is repeating itself. I'm very familiar with this kind of territories. And now I'm in the backbench, serving the people of Garissa, people of Northeastern and the Muslim community. So, and I can tell you for now that the kind of changes that took place in the National Assembly after I left, definitely I would not have agreed to that. Because, there were chairs, despite their political orientation, an outburst out there over the weekend, which I never used to bother. In the House, they are one of the most seasoned, reformed, oriented chairs. A chair like the chair of Finance, Honorable Imo, a chair like the chair of Budget, Honorable Ichungwa. My leadership, Honorable Cecily Mbarire, Honorable Washiali. But it's common with the Kenyan politics, and it's common with the life that you get an opportunity. I mean, in the 10th Parliament, Honorable Kimunya, my successor, was the leader of government business. I mean, he was a very powerful minister in the Kibaki administration. He lost his seat. Then 11th Parliament, he was away. He came back. He was vice chair of the Education Committee. And today he is a leader of majority. So life is like a roundabout.
It's like a roundabout.
Yeah.
But your ouster coming at a time when now the leadership is being changed, members are being removed from the committee. I mean, this relationship between the president and his deputy really is looking like it's affecting how even parliament is working, the legislature. Jubilee. So how really is Jubilee? And if you look back, was the decision to merge these parties right?
In fact, what I'm grieving about, what is of great concern today, is not, I am not the leader of majority. It's not about anything else, but the status of the party called Jubilee and the status of the Jubilee government is a very, very big concern. And those two, the party and the government, the Jubilee administration, put together affects fundamentally the whole country. So the dream of Jubilee Party, the merging of 14 parties, in my opinion, initially, and let me also say it, initially I was not for the idea of merging because of the experience, I had, we had with ODM. We invested heavily in ODM, and one morning we were told, you guys, you can take a walk. So we felt URP was where we now call our home. So I was not first for the idea of, personally, I was not for the idea. I was one of the leaders who were not for the merger. But because I had full confidence in the president and the deputy president, and I remember one Saturday morning they set me down in State House and individually took me through and convinced me the merits of merging and having a one cohesive national party where a pastoralist, a Muslim, a Christian of any faith, where the poor and the rich, where the regions, all regions will call it home, like a big supermarket. And so they convinced me, and you know, when your leadership convinces you, and I think it was very, very good. And we expected, once we merged the 14 parties, we expected our colleagues in the opposition, by then they were called CORD, to also merge their parties. So the country, Kenya is one of the most celebrated democracies. The country can have two major political formations, like in the US and like in UK, in other democracies. So that, you know, this story of small parties, regional parties, you know, if you look at TNA, who had the national outlook, but the bulk of TNA was from Mount Kenya region.
Yes.
If you look at URP, it had a national outlook. We had, I think, 70 plus members of parliament. We had a national outlook. I mean, more of pastoralist and Rift Valley. But because of the leadership, it was more seen as a Rift Valley, a Kalenjin party. So those of us who come from the minorities, the marginalized groups, we felt like if we go this route, then even us, we are going to form our own party. And I think for the stability, the political stability of the country, it was good to have two major formations where Kenyans can elect people based on ideology and manifestos, not on region, not on tribe, not on the faith you belong to. What happened? When we formed Jubilee in 2017 general election, we got the largest numbers in both houses and in the counties. You know, out of the 47 counties, 44 of them we had members of parliament. You'll find Kuria, you'll find Kisii, you'll find Somali, name them, all the 43 plus tribes were in Jubilee. And that's how NASA lost in the house. Because, you know, Wiper went their way, Ford Kenya went their way, ODM went their way. And in fact, ODM, which I belonged, which in the 11th parliament had 93 members of parliament, came down to 60-something. So we formed a huge party. But it's very unfortunate. Today that party is a shell. Let me be very candid. It's a shell. It doesn't believe in its constitution. It doesn't believe in its manifesto. It doesn't believe, it has not done elections since 2016 when we formed. It doesn't believe in, it has not held its parliamentary group meeting, maybe not more than 3 or 4, chaired by the president, mainly on issues to do with the party, you know, party issues in parliament. It has not lived, in my opinion, to the ideals, and we have not become an example. What happened, where we missed the road, I think squarely lies with the party leader and the deputy party leader. Because, you know, in a house, once the father and the mother are not in good terms, then the children will go their own way, the staff will go on their own way, or in a company where the CEO and the board of directors are not reading from the same script. So there's that ideological difference, that not working together. And today, the status, so I can tell you that I was convinced, but to the dissolution of URP and the other parties, but is one of the actions that I regret today.
You regret it?
I regret it because, you know, Jubilee as a government, we did very well, if you ask me. Till today, we did very well. I mean, we connected over 3 million extra Kenyans to electricity. We have taken power to areas which never saw national grid, like my constituency. We have taken roads, more roads across the country. We have provided free maternal health care. We have built the first railway line. We have improved the capacity of our ports in terms of cargo. We have invested heavily in the security sector. Kenya now is more safer domestically. Our intelligence community is doing very well. The security and the police, in my opinion, have been upgraded in terms of weaponry, in terms of vehicles. So Jubilee as a government has done very, very well. But Jubilee as a political party, from the political front, Jubilee was, in our opinion, when we were forming Jubilee Party, we were thinking of to join the ranks of ANC, to join the ranks of the Republican Party in the US, the Democrats, the Labour Party, the Conservative Party. You know, where you can even define, a party can be defined whether it's a liberal, whether it's a conservative. But we have confirmed to the Republic of Kenya that parties are owned by individuals. Yes.
But let's talk about the things that...
But again, I don't blame the president. I don't blame the deputy president. You know, I'm reading a book now called The Deep State. It's called The Deep State.
Interesting title.
Yes, The Deep State. And at the bottom is written, The Fall of the Constitution and the Rise of Shadow Government. It's been written by one of writers, best writers for New York Times. I'm just reading it. And that is a situation where, you know, bureaucrats in the security sector, in government, in our case, State House, in cohort with the private sector players, they take and hijack the democratically elected government for their own selfish interests. That's what the book is saying. And they abrogate the constitution. They believe in violating the rule of law. They believe in impunity. They perpetuate corruption. You know? I think once I finish reading that book, then I have a feeling, now so far I've read half of it, I have a feeling that's what's happening in Kenya. Few people in government and few in the private sector have decided to put the constitution and the laws in a cupboard, close it, and run the country like a banana republic. But I'm sure I have not lost hope. And my appeal to the president is, one, to save the Jubilee Party, because he wanted to leave a legacy of a united country. Leaving a legacy of a united country, you must start with a political party. We must form united, cohesive political parties. Jubilee was one of them. And today you see, if you ask me, Jubilee is a shell. Yeah.
You're saying Jubilee has achieved a lot, but let's talk about what you did not deliver. Stadia, 6 months, kulienda aje jamani? You know, did you oversell
no, of
the
course,
promise? Like there was a lot.
Agree. You know, every government in the world, and even individual, even you.
Now we're dealing with mikokoteni na wheelbarrows.
No. Those are part of the economy. They are the drivers of the economy. There are certain things Jubilee did not deliver, but you know, on a scorecard, Jubilee has delivered. I can give them B. I mean, 60–70%.
Really?
Yes. Maybe Jubilee did not deliver on laptops.
Absolutely.
We have a very good reason. We realize that, and we saw it when even our technical team was crafting that manifesto pledge.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look into the education setup in our country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before you give laptop, you must make sure that every school is connected to power.
Mm-hmm.
Every school has desk.
Mm-hmm.
Every school has infrastructure. So they overlook that. Mm-hmm. So we realized that we can't take laptops to children
Mm-hmm.
where there's no electricity, where there are no desks, where there are no physical infrastructure. In some parts of the country, not all parts of the country. In fact, I think 85%, 90% of the country were ready, but we didn't want to discriminate. And we didn't deliver on stadiums. Maybe the sector ministries, who was the Minister for Sports, then, were they given the resources? Was the contractors? There we failed. So the sporting community can hold us to that. Did we overborrow? Yes. I mean, if today Kenyans are asked more than any other government.
And we've gone to borrow again.
Yeah. More than any other government, we have put Kenya into a debt crisis. Part of that debt can be seen. We've built the railway, we've built the infrastructure, energy, geothermal, call it, connectivity. We have done it. By the end of the day, we can't run away from it. And the mistake we made was we should have borrowed from the multilaterals and bilaterals, where, you know, the grace period for the loan was long, 30, 20 years, and the interest charge was about 3%. We should have borrowed from the World Bank, IMF, AFP, Africa Development Bank, you know, multilateral donors. But what did we do? We went to China. We went to China. And why did we went to China? Because with China, people could get 10% kickback. But with the multilaterals, we could not. So that's why in our parliament, in approving the new, in increasing the ceiling of the debt portfolio in our country, we have recommended as parliament, and I think last year, that government must renegotiate all those Chinese loans and other loans and hand them over to the multilaterals and bilateral lenders. So so we have our own shortcomings. We are not perfect. But I think if you judge Jubilee in the first 5 years, we did very well. The second 5 years, it was a house that was fighting itself, a house that lost direction, a house that was not disciplined in terms of even the members of parliament. And as a senior leader in this country, you know, the sad thing is in Kenyan politics, the common denominator in the Kenyan politics is betrayal and deceit. And I mean, it's not starting now. You know, those people talk about William Ruto has been betrayed, Aden Duale has been betrayed, so and so has been betrayed. They are not reading history. I mean, go back to Independence Day, pre-independence government. Jaramogi had his own issues. Moya, as the vice president, had his own issues, you know, with the government then. Come back to Moi. Moi betrayed a number of people. You remember the late George Saitoti, the way he was thrown under the bus in Kasarani when Raila Odinga joined that, and his team, Kamoda and all that. How Moi was again betrayed when he anointed President Uhuru Kenyatta as a flag bearer in 2002. Everybody left KANU. I mean, Raila Odinga, who joined, left with Saitoti, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Mudi Awori, Olentimama. And who remained with him? It was only William Ruto and a few others in 2002. What happened when Kenyans said yote yawezekana bila Moi, and NAC was formed? Barely, President Kibaki is one of the best presidents I can remember in our country. But what happened? Barely even in the formation of the NAC government, Raila Odinga was to become a prime minister. He was shortchanged. And his team, you know. NAC, so within 2 years, because the focus was only removing Moi, they didn't have ideology. So there was betrayal in NAC. I mean, Chris Murungaru, Kraichu Murungi, Matere Kereri, all those characters, all those people decided to sideline and betray the other wing of the NAC, the LDP. Then you come to ODM in 2007. We had a Pentagon. The moment Raila Odinga got a share of the government, he started betraying everybody, including myself. I mean, he betrayed William Ruto, you know, who was supposed to decide who becomes the minister in Rift Valley. The Pentagon collapsed. And by the time we are coming to 2013 general election, Raila Odinga had no one single member of the cabinet, of the Pentagon. Balala left, Charity Ngilu left, William Ruto left, Musalia Mudavadi left, John Nyaga left. So it was another betrayal. Come to just before the 2013 general election. I mean, for 48 hours, Musalia Mudavadi was given the covert position of you'll be the TNA, URP, UDF presidential candidate.
Yes.
I played a role in making sure that Musalia will not be our candidate. I was with Honorable Kabogo, Sine Barire, Shebesh and all that. But again, that was, if you look at from the word betrayal, in the context of what President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto told Musalia Mudavadi. And barely 2 weeks later, they walked out. So betrayal is and politics of deceit is a common denominator in the Kenyan politics since 2000, since independence. But I never thought, and this is a shock to me, now I can agree, I never thought, you know, that William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, you were with us in the campaign.
Yes,
they were together in Kano. They were together in 2002 when President Uhuru Kenyatta lost. Both of them, in my opinion, are very, very good people. I have a lot of respect for the president. I have a lot of respect for the deputy president. I never thought their relationship will reach this stage and that affects the whole country. So my advice to anybody who wants to join politics in Kenya is that you must be ready at one point or the other to be betrayed. Usifunge macho. When you are sleeping, you must make sure that one eye is open and the other one, you're using it to sleep. Yes.
Do you as an individual feel betrayed?
No.
At all?
At all, no. I was given an opportunity in 2013. I was lucky we formed government. I was made the first leader of majority by the rank and the file of Jubilee, led by the president and the deputy president. To the best of my knowledge and the country, I did my work very well. I was very loyal. I have a track record. And that's why when I was handing over, I prepared my speech. Because I look back, I had a legacy. I had a legacy. So I say, why should I throw my legacy under the bus? Because of 30 minutes emotion. I had a very long history, both politically, government, and family, with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And he gave me an opportunity to serve under his government for 7.5 years. I had a daily, hourly contact with him. There's nothing that I've asked him that he never did for me. I ran parliament through consultation. So I said, why should I destroy my relationship that I have built, even family-wise, with the president. And I'll still make sure that my relationship, even after he retires, my relationship with the president will still be there. Why? What's happened to the deputy president is part of the betrayal. So I tell the deputy president, Kangumu.
So the deputy president has been betrayed?
Yes, from where I sit. You know, when the deputy president, when you allow, when bureaucrats demean the office of and the person of the deputy president, bureaucrats in public and in private, it's not only good for a cohesive Kenya, but it's also not good for the stability of our nation. Because this is also what happened to the NAG government. Raila Odinga was, to some extent, humiliated by bureaucrats in government during the Grand Coalition government. I was not, the later part of it, I was not with Raila Odinga, but I didn't like it. So the kind of insults, either by members of the Jubilee Party, the kind of demeaning the office and the person of the deputy president by anybody, whether in government or in the political class or even in the opposition, is not good. Similarly, on the flip side, the institution of the presidency must also be respected.
Yes.
So even the other side of the deputy president, who in one way or the other, hurl insults to the president, either in person or in the institution of the presidency, are also wrong. So the whole environment has become toxic. The whole environment has become toxic. You know, when a civil servant tells the deputy president, tell civil servants, security agents, do not attend the function of the deputy president. Do not attend, provide security to the deputy president, and create a culture of insubordination. You are not only demeaning and injuring the reputation of the deputy president, both the office and the person, but you are setting a bad precedent in the governance structure in our country, that tomorrow it might not be the deputy president. Tomorrow it can be somebody else. And I wonder why, ODM guys get excited about what is happening to the deputy president. Because they went through this between 2007 and 2013. Raila Odinga was disrespected. Raila Odinga was, as a prime minister, was humiliated by people who were in government. You remember the story of Raila Odinga saying the Wabi PC, hakuna mkeka nusu, hakuna choo.
Wapi choo.
So Raila Odinga went through this, and Kenyans are not learning from history. Today it happened to Raila Odinga.
Now it's happening.
It happened to William Ruto. Tomorrow it will happen to you. Unajua, there's a saying in my community that ukiona mwenzako ananyolewa, we pia tia maji.
Tia maji.
So ndio mimi naangalia kutoka mbali. And that now is affecting, when few people take central role in deciding the running of the country. Because presidents are very busy people, let me tell you. Because I in my memo, I'm going to say it all. I'm also reading another book called The Room Where It Happened by John Bolton. So
It's a good book.
So I'm telling Kenyans to expect a similar book within the Kenyan context. So I had a daily, hourly contact with the president in running the legislature with the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Muturi. Our success was because we had a direct contact with the president on bills, on motions, on ratifications, and we could advise the president, this I think is not good, we can do it this way. And President Uhuru Kenyatta was very, very accommodative. And in fact, my message to the current leadership is that they should not bother about other busybodies. For them to run the house effectively, they must get and consult the president very often. In fact, when I speak on the floor of the house on a government agenda, 80% of the Jubilee members of parliament and even the opposition, they knew that is the position of government. That is the position of President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Family.
I have never spoke in public and in parliament during my tenure as a leader of majority without doing a prior consultation on what I will say with the president.
With the president himself.
And the deputy president. And I have survived for 7.5 years, and I can tell you there's no one instant where the president contradicted me or the deputy president. Not the reason, the magic card is I consulted them.
Yes.
That this is the position, this is the narrative, this is what's going on in the country. What do I say? I'm being called to Citizen TV, I'm being called to NTV. Media guys are calling me, and I'm sure the media guys will agree with me that I used to tell them, let me consult, let me come back to you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so my advice to the current leadership, both in the Senate and in the National Assembly, is that you must have the president's ear for government agenda to succeed. And you must be ready to convince the president and have a discussion with him on what is possible and what is not possible.
With this push and pull that we are witnessing between the president and his deputy, a lot of members have been seen to be, running to pick a side. But as Aden Duale, you have been very mum about it, like fence sitting. Today, tell us on the hot seat, uko pande gani sasa?
No, the people were running up and down, getting one side and the other side. These are new members of parliament. I am a seasoned...
They're not seasoned.
I am a seasoned politician. I have served this is my 14th year now as a member of parliament. I was elected by the people of Dugis and Garissa Township 3 times on 3 different political parties. I mean, I was elected on ODM in 2007. I was elected on URP in 2013 and Jubilee on 2017. So that tells you the people of Garissa do not elect political parties. They elect the individual called Aden Duale. And even now, they are saying, give us a direction. So I have been very consistent. I am not a fence sitter. I'm a member of the Jubilee Party. And until Jubilee becomes something else, because now it's becoming something else. In fact, the scenario in Jubilee, if it is not managed, what will happen is what happened in 2001, Kanu, when Raila Odinga and the rest walked out en masse. They walked out en masse and formed LDP and joined NAC. Jubilee, we had a roadmap from my collection. We had a roadmap. Our roadmap, our strategy was we rule the next 20 years. And inshallah. And the first 10 years was for President Uhuru Kenyatta. The second 10 years was for William Ruto. President Uhuru Kenyatta has less than 2 years to hang his boots. So he's not a candidate. So between him and William Ruto, those are my closest political bedfellows, the people I believe in their political ideology. And more so, I believe in the ideology of one William Samoei Ruto. I mean, I have a history with him. I joined, he's the one who, I joined ODM with him and Raila Odinga, so I have a history with him. In 2013, we differed ideologically and formed the URP. So William Ruto, to me, is not an ordinary politician. William Ruto, to me, is a buddy, is a friend, is a political ally, is a partner. And based on the roadmap of Jubilee, I can authoritatively tell you today, looking at you in the eyes, that my candidate for 2022 is William Ruto. Yes, I will use whatever it takes to campaign for William Ruto.
The president has spoken on France 24 TV. And when the question was put about his support for William Ruto, like you're saying, 10 years, he wasn't very categorical. Is the president going back on his word that he will support William Ruto for the presidency?
I don't want to speak for the president. I want him to answer that question. But the president has been very consistent on one thing. Let me first do my work. Let me fulfill my agenda. Let me complete the social contract as the president I have with the people of Kenya. And when the time comes, I watched France TV 25 last night. Said when the time comes, he will make a decision. You know, and I have a feeling, when the time comes, President Uhuru Kenyatta will support William Ruto. But let me give you a rider. William Ruto and those of us who support him. William Ruto and those of us who support him. We have been in this game before. President Kenyatta is on his way retiring. We have a lot of respect for the President Kenyatta. Our history with him cannot be erased in a minute, even in 3 months, in 2 years, in 3 years. We, the leaders who work with William Ruto, will have competitors. We know 2022 is coming up, and we are going to prepare ourselves, either within the ambit of a more democratically reformed Jubilee or any other ambit. I mean, when we were leaving ODM was the largest party. But come the next general election, we ate into ODM stronghold, and we came with over 75 MPs. So those of us who believe in the leadership of William Ruto in 2022, myself, let me speak for myself, we will have a lot of respect for President Uhuru Kenyatta to finish his remaining 2 years. We will do whatever it takes as members, because we are part of Jubilee. But when the time comes, when the race begins, as the patron of the pastoralist parliamentary group, as a prominent leader in the Somali community, we will convince our people that the best person to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta, in the opinion of Aden Duale, from a developmental track record, from a man who has, who is in touch with the wheelbarrow guy, with the Mkokoteni guy, with the salute girls, with a man who sits with the corporates, with a man who sits with the pastoralists and the farmers, with a man who has contributed a lot to the church and contributed immensely, I can speak for him, to the construction of madrasas and mosques across the Muslim constituencies, William Ruto is the man to beat. The man to beat. And I'm telling other candidates, unless they join our coalition, the William Ruto coalition, and support him for a presidential candidate, they should not waste their time looking for me. So Musalia, you know the way I see in the Kenyan politics, the race now is shaping up. The race is becoming between the two horses, Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Yeah, if you ask me, it might look demeaning, but the rest looks like they're donkeys. Yeah.
The horses are there.
The horses are there, the only two.
Once upon a time, you vowed something.
Yes.
Directly to me. I sat in your house.
Yes.
In Garissa.
Yes.
And you said, 2022 ikifika, what will happen if William Ruto becomes president? Will you hang your boots?
2022, you know, when every morning you must have a priority checklist. Priority checklist. One of my first priority checklist is to spend a lot of my energy and time in the presidential campaign team
of William Ruto.
Across the country to make sure that he garners the highest number of votes, he garners the highest number of seats in the National Assembly and in the Senate, and in the county assemblies and in the gubernatorial. My second priority list, which I don't want to say it here, I have a card, a hidden card for Garissa County.
There's like a trump card somewhere.
Yes, both for who becomes the governor, who becomes the senator, who becomes the women rep, and who becomes the various the 6 constituency seats. Because the biggest threat, in fact, I haven't told you, the only time me and William Ruto went on 2 different formations since I joined politics was in the 2010 constitution. And because he was opposing that constitution, I left him and we had an understanding that he gives me a sabbatical leave to go and join the other formation because of the interest of my community who I represented, both the Muslim and the Somali community. That was in 2010 because I was a proponent of Ugatuzi devolution, and of course the Bill of Rights and the Cadiz Court. And today the biggest threat to devolution, even in my county, is corruption, which is being perpetuated by governors. You know, devolution to the people in the north, to Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, Marsabit, Isiolo, Turkana. Devolution was to bring decision-making and resources closer to the people. We were victims of a centralized system since independence. So we're saying, with devolution, our healthcare will improve. Our children will get jobs. Our roads will improve. Agriculture and livestock will improve. You know? What have we ended up? And let me speak for my county. We end up making 1 or 2 people billionaires. So I have a business in Garissa. I have to fix it. So that card I'll tell you when the elections are over. The other thing, you know, we are facing as a region now. That's a region. That's why, you know, the other day when I saw the formula, you know, it's a very interesting scenario in Kenya. And at night I woke up and I asked myself, what is going on in this country? The president and the prime minister are talking about bringing the unity of the people of Kenya. If you're asking me that, one thing that the handshake has done it might have done so many good things. But one thing that the handshake has done, contrary to the dreams of formation of the Jubilee Party, the handshake has created a lot of disunity within the Kenyan society. Today, you can't talk about unity to the people of northeastern and part of Coast Province when you want to reduce their allocations and give it to a more developed constituency, counties. When there is extrajudicial killing in parts of the country, when there are disappearances, when their schools are closed. Kenyan schools are closed because of coronavirus.
Yes.
Our schools were closed before corona. In fact, one of the things that I've learned from the miracles of the Almighty God is that He can create equity. He brought corona, and because nobody wanted to listen to the people of North, when our schools were closed because of insecurity, He closed all schools in Kenya. But even if corona now schools are open, there are no teachers in the North. So we have, our schools are closed, our health centers have been closed, our children are disappearing, there's extrajudicial killing, there's insecurity in the North. You cannot bring people with such problems to the table and sell them the narrative that we are building a united Kenya. That unity of Kenya does not sell to me, it does not sell to the people I represent. And finally, I think I need also to say this, is that, these people who talk about one man, 1 shilling,
One vote.
one vote. If you ask me, those are not Kenyans. Those are tribalists. Those are ethnic chauvinists. Because Kenya is defined by the land size and the people. You can't have Kenya without the land. The people live in the land.
Yes.
So when you say population, people, so what about the land where you live? So this is the story of, and this is why, to that point, you say 1 man, 1 shilling, one man, 1 shilling. We will say 1 kilometer, 1 shilling. Yeah, so, and we are not, we are not visitors of anybody in this country. Everybody has a peace in this country. Every community, every religion, every person, regardless of your social status, Mama Mboga, the rich guy, the professional, the religious leaders, everybody must be respected and must be given his space. Yes.
Lakini sasa ni kama umenichenga hapo na very good answers, lakini hujaniambia, are you seeking a fresh mandate in 2022? Or because you'll be very busy in the presidential campaign of William Ruto, umeachana na?
I have a plan for myself and Garissa.
A hidden trump card?
A hidden trump card.
Sasa jamani, lakini Mhesh.
So don't worry. The only one you can report is that
Mhesh,
I will support William
Mhesh,
Ruto.
I will put it here in this interview. I will go back to the archives. You said if William Ruto wins, and I am quoting you, if William Ruto wins in 2022 and becomes president, you're done.
I will?
You said you were done. You will not go back into politics.
No, I mean, I told you, for William Ruto to win, I need to fix Garissa. I mean, I need to have deliver for William Ruto in Wajir, Mandera, and Garissa, and other parts of the country. So William Ruto is the priority. He's priority number 1.
But we could also be looking at, now you're not running for Garissa Township, you're running for something else?
No. Which seat I will run for in Garissa Township?
So you're running?
Which seat I will run for will be decided by the great people
of Garissa.
Of Garissa Township. Yes.
So you might run for something else? Not member of parliament for Garissa Township?
I think what you need to do is, after this interview,
to on the ground,
go to Garissa, ask them, this guy has served you for 3 terms.
What's the plan?
What plan do you have for him? Do you have a plan for him to become a senator? Do you have a plan for him to become a member of parliament? Do you have a plan for him to become a governor?
Uh-huh.
Do you have a plan for him to become a minister and join the national government? Do you have a plan for him just to go and sit in State House and work with William Ruto? The people of Garissa will decide. But I have some unfinished business.
You have unfinished business.
Business with some people in Garissa County. People who lost election in 2007, 2013, and I felt mercy for them, so I brought them on board and made them something, and they have disappointed the people of Garissa.
Oh.
I have to, you know, in Garissa people are telling me now, you have brought us this problem.
Oh, you're the one who has brought the problem.
Because I'm the one who
brought them on board.
So I have to solve that problem, and I have to fix that problem. So I have to fix a problem in Garissa. And if you go out to Garissa town today, you ask them what agenda does the leader has. They will tell you the leader has some work pending for him to fix. You know, in my community, they say the person who brings the gene is the person to remove. So I brought some genes to Garissa.
So you're the one to remove.
So I have to remove. And the time to remove is 2002. Inshallah.
2022.
Inshallah, if I reached. This year was not a good year for me. And COVID, I lost my dear mom.
Mother, we are very sorry about that. Our sincerest
I mean,
condolences.
my life is nothing without my mom. So
our sincerest condolences from the hot seat and, of course, from our audience. Our sincerest condolences. We're sorry to hear about that. As we wind up, this dissolution of parliament and the two-thirds gender rule, and I want to take you back to, I remember I used to do a number of interviews with you on why are we just not achieving this two-thirds gender rule. Now, the CJ, Maraga, has come and said, dissolve parliament.
No. Maraga, in my opinion, and I'm not personal, it's my view. Maraga is very dishonest. And Maraga is trying to pick a war with the president. He feels he did this once in the Supreme Court 2017 general election. We won the election by 1 million. But he said, talked about processes. So he threw President Uhuru Kenyatta and all of us under the bus.
Do you believe you won that election in 2017?
We won it. And that's why the opposition, if you look at the numbers, we have 172 members of parliament in the National Assembly. ODM have 69. Combine all of them, they have 113. We have the majority of senators. We have the majority of governors. We have the majority of MCAs. That tells you, cumulatively, we won the elections. But Maraga, for reasons known to him, threw all of us under the bus. We went back to elections, we won. What Maraga has done is, I can describe it, dishonesty of the highest order. Why? If it is about compliance with the two-thirds gender principle, the 11th parliament that vetted David Maraga was not compliant. So he's a beneficiary of an illegal parliament. And I want him to look at me in the eyes. Maraga, Deputy CJ, and a number of the Court of Appeal judges are beneficiaries of an illegal parliament.
And Supreme Court judges as well.
Some of them. Because the Constitution, this provision was passed in 2010. So Maraga, during his vetting, he never raised it. He never said that I cannot be. If he's a man of integrity and honest, he should have said, I cannot be vetted by this house. I won't take the job because this house is in violation of the Constitution. Because you know the story of the gender rule. I'll come back to it later. Secondly, Maraga received 3 or 4 petitions in the 11th parliament, ordering him to advise the president. He kept quiet. So he decided to give the president another bomb or a grenade where he has removed the pin in the wee hours of his retirement. What has he done? He has created a constitutional crisis. Maraga should have asked the court to interpret Article 271, sub-article 6. Because you cannot dissolve parliament, and that, in the reading of many people, is a general election. The only general election contemplated in the Constitution is found in Article 101, the Tuesday of the second week of August of the 5th year.
Yes.
And if you read Article 136, that talks about the election of the president. Article 177, that talks about the election of county assemblies. Article 180, that talks about the election of governors. All of it says will be done on the same day with that of the members of parliament. Let's even agree the president dissolves parliament. Under a presidential system of government, particularly the National Assembly, is the nerve center in the running of the two other arms of government in terms of resources. So you dissolve parliament. I mean, as parliamentarian myself, I am ready to go back to elections. But you know, if you look at Article 1 of the Constitution of Article 3, the people of Garissa Township gave me their sovereign power and will to represent them for 5 years. If you look at Article 94 of the Constitution, Parliament is, or the legislature, is the only one that has been given that article the authority to legislate. So, you know, by a stroke of a pen, by one David Maraga advisory, cannot terminate my 5-year contract given to me by the people through Article 1 of the Constitution. And that's why I agree with Judge Weldon Korir and Judge Macau, his own judges, are saying there are serious constitutional interpretation and issues to be resolved.
Yes.
So Parliament, we have gone to court. We have Grand Mullah as our lawyer. I am sure he will join with Paul Mite. AG has gone to court. And you know, currently with all this crisis we have, even if we go to elections, who will give IBC money? It's Parliament to appropriate money. So what Maraga has done, you know the difference between David Maraga and Willie Mutunga, and this is my personal view. I don't want people to misquote me. You know, people always misquote me. You know, there's a difference between intelligence and wisdom. Willie Mutunga is one Chief Justice, if you ask me. He's a good buddy of mine. I'm not saying because he's my friend. But he's one guy who was misunderstood by the government then and the people of Kenya. But he was a fine jurist. He was a man of wisdom. He was a nationalist. And when making a decision, apart from on law, he will apply wisdom. He will apply patriotism. He will apply national interest. You know, you don't read the Constitution. I mean, I agree, the Constitution must be complied with to fidelity. But there is wisdom.
Yes.
There is public interest. There is public good. There is a national, even security interest. The president today cannot just make a decision. So I think Maraga has a beef with President Uhuru Kenyatta. It's very, very unfortunate. I participated in the approval of Maraga, and I'll tell him then if Parliament is this Parliament is unconstitutional, then you are the Chief Justice.
He is also in office.
You are in office illegally,
because
you have been approved, vetted by an illegal Parliament. Coming to the two-third gender, I tried as a leader of majority to bring several bills. This goes back to history. In the time of Parliament, I was there. Mother Karua was a Minister for Justice. She brought in this gender issue. I was one of the people who walked out. Then I was a backbencher. The late Mutula Kilonzo brought it. Okay, when he was the Minister for Justice. He could not sail through. In the 11th Parliament, 12th Parliament, I brought more than 4 bills called the Duale bills. You know, this thing can only be solved by the people of Kenya. Kenya is a democratically elected people. The citizens elect their people. It is the citizens, when presented with Jackie Maribe and Honorable Duale, who will make a choice.
They choose.
Parliament cannot make a choice on behalf of the people on who to elect. It's as simple as that. Today in the US House of Representatives, the best they have done since time immemorial, they're now at 23.7%. That is a system like ours. So progressively, I was in the 10th Parliament, progressively, with the 47 women, with many affirmative action, the number of women leaders are increasing. And for your information, this gender thing is an elitist. It's only found in Nairobi and in the boardrooms, in the offices. When you go to Garissa, when you go to the rural part, the women who are the majority voters do not believe in that thing. So I think President Uhuru Kenyatta, if I was him, if I was in the shoes of the President Uhuru Kenyatta, he should not bother. Furthermore, that clause is not giving him a time frame. But on the flip side of it, I think there are other issues the judiciary has picked with the executive in terms of abiding by the rule of law and impunity. I'll ask my message to my very good friend and boss and dear friend, Uhuru Kenyatta, President Uhuru Kenyatta, is that he should at all times uphold the independence of the judiciary, give it more resources, comply with court orders, because this one is not a court order, it's an advisory. Comply with the court orders and rein in on those who are in the civil service who wants to dent his legacy. President Uhuru Kenyatta has a good legacy from 2013 to 2017. You know, President Kibaki is remembered for when I drive on Thika Superhighway.
Yes.
Going to Garissa, I remember Kibaki. I remember Kibaki for turning around the economy. President Uhuru Kenyatta will be remembered for the SGR. He'll be remembered for good things, you know, the free maternal health care. He'll be remembered for the over 5 million Kenyans who are accessing electricity. He'll be remembered for leading the largest political party. So, you know, he must protect his legacy.
Yes.
And at the wee hours of your tenure, they are vultures, bureaucrats, people who survived in every government. So they will look at their personal interest, not at your legacy. So I want President Uhuru Kenyatta to take the bold step and protect his legacy from those who want to destroy it, including Honorable Duale. If I am one of them, he should not give me a space. He should not give a space. He should make sure that devolution succeeds. He must continue with the war on corruption without fear, without favor. The independent institutions must not prosecute people based on regional, political, religious affiliation. The war on corruption must be one that is based on evidence and not on witch hunt. And the president will leave a fine legacy. He has less than 2 years. As a good friend, my advice to him is, if there are people around you, including even maybe your friend Honorable Duale, please don't give us a space to defame, to demean, to destroy your legacy. You have an opportunity to leave a legacy that Kenyans will remember you forever. Correct what has gone wrong with the judiciary, correct what has gone wrong with parliament, give Parliament its legislative independence, give the judiciary its independence, make sure the executive as implementing agent of the budget implement, and I am sure you are lucky. I mean, he's lucky. It is only in his family that the father and the son became president. How many people will get that opportunity? Very
It's
few.
rare.
I don't think so. That. In fact, it has never
It
happened.
says here in the United States.
In a democratic country like Kenya, it is, I think, here in the United States.
Yeah, Bush.
Yes, George Bush or George Bush. So it only also works in monarchies, you know. So my advice to him is, he's a good man, but there are vultures everywhere.
There are vultures everywhere.
Everywhere. Even within the deputy president, there are vultures. Within Honorable Raila Odinga, there are vultures. So I'll ask the Kenyan leadership to make sure that they run the country, they do their politics outside the influence of the vultures who want to bring them down or want to eat them. Yes.
Such strong advice that is seeing us sadly wrap the show because we could go on and on and on. The hot seat in conjunction with Carrington Sportswear. Hatutembeangi mkono tupu. Najua umetukaribisha kwako.
Yes.
Jamani. Tumefurahi sasa sisi tukienda kunywa chai tufurahi. We want to also, you know, usiseme hatukutembeanga huku. So this is for you.
It's my team, huh?
Watu wa Maniu. Asante sana. Tumeshukuru, and that is how we wrap up the hot seat with the former majority leader Aden Duale, lakini haijaishia hapo. We shall do a take two.
No, anytime.
This time we're going to Garissa County. We go, we see what is happening.
This is the first TV interview I've given since I left.
And we are so honored to be the ones to do
They
it.
came everywhere. I told them no.
Ukasema hapana.
Chani pumzike.
Lakini hot seat ni hot seat.
Nikasema acha niwapatie nafasi.
Tunashukuru sana. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you on Sunday. God bless.
Karibuni.
Okay.